Stop recording button. Double tap to activate.
Hello. Well, my yarn loving friends, I'm just gonna tell you right now, this video, it's not about yarn. If you want, you can do the whole sad face. It's okay. It's okay to be sad that not everything in life is about yarn. It is. And of course, I'm still sitting here, surrounded by yarn, right? I'm still sitting here, surrounded by my beautiful makes. I got my granny square skirt here with me, you know it. But this video is not necessarily about yarn. But I did post a video, and there's lots of videos on my channel about yarn if you're looking for that. I often feature yarns on my channel when they're on sale because everything's expensive today, and I love a good yarn sale, and I want to help you save money on yarn. But even when the sale is over, you can of course still watch those videos. You can still learn about those yarns, and you can hopefully still get some inspiration for projects for you to make. So feel free to watch those videos if you don't want to watch something that's not about yarn. But I released a video on May the 1st about May Day. You're welcome, because hey, if you don't know yet, hello, my name is May. I love yarn. I love to knit and crochet. And I also happen to be visually impaired. So I knit and crochet by feel. And my May Day video was all about the Granny Squares by Jada and Stitches, her live video from April 29th. And if you're blind or visually impaired, I am holding up one of the squares. It is yellow in the middle with cream brulee. It has these Fiesta red petals. It has the jalapeno green frame and the white. And if you're sighted, I do try to include people who are blind or visually impaired on my channel, so I try to use my words and describe things because I'm colorblind myself. And whenever I'm watching yarn channels, I'm like, what color is that? What color is that? I always want to know those things. So I want to make sure that whenever I know a color, I tell somebody. But what I want to talk to you about is, I don't know how many of my videos some of you have watched, but I used to work as a therapist. I don't know if you know that, but I did. I went to college for 10 years. I got a 4-year undergraduate degree in psychology. Then I got a master's and a doctorate degree in psychology. And so, and then I worked. I did some of my training in graduate school. My field placement was at a college counseling center. I did my pre-doctoral internship at a college counseling center. Got my job at a college counseling center, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I didn't even know that was what I was going to do when I started graduate school. But that's what I ended up doing, and that's what I ended up loving. And so when I'm not working now, and I'm not licensed any longer to be a therapist, okay? I'm not. So I'm not here to be your therapist. Now, if you need therapy, I highly encourage you to get therapy. But really, only you know the answer to that. And I've been a therapy client myself. More than once, okay? I went to therapy as a teenager and then again in my 20s. I've been to therapy. So you don't need to be ashamed of it. If you need it, feel free to go. But I also know, like yarn, therapy is expensive. It is. And so sometimes there are things that we might be able to do for ourselves, especially today because we've got the internet, right? And we can look up things. Now, obviously, there are some serious things. If you're suicidal, please get help. Please see a therapist. Please go to an emergency room, right? There are serious mental health crises, and I hope that people seek out professional help when they need it. So I'm not trying to discourage people who are in a crisis from getting help at all. But I'm also saying You know, some things you're going to want a therapist for, and some things you might say, wow, that'd be nice to work on that, but I don't have $200 an hour to see a therapist, okay? So, when I worked in college counseling, I saw people for all kinds of things. People showed up in my office for all kinds of situations. Some of them were suicidal. Some of my clients had eating disorders. I worked with a young woman who was bulimic. I worked with clients who experienced sexual abuse, clients who have I had a client whose mom was murdered in front of him. He was a foster kid. I've had clients who've had severe trauma, clients that, had relationship issues, parental issues. Many of my clients in college counseling were just dealing with adjustment to college, right? First time living away from home, managing life, learning how to live with a dorm full of people. Sometimes it was their first breakup. Some of my clients were very depressed. Some of my clients had military trauma. Some of them had substance abuse. But some of my clients were just there for sort of behavioral changes, right? They wanted to develop better study skills. They wanted better time management. They wanted to increase their exercise. They wanted to make lifestyle changes. That's why some of my clients came to me. And in college counseling, that's great because, the therapy is included with your tuition. So that's great. If your tuition's paid for and you're a college student, make use of your college counseling center. But in life, right, when you're not in college, it may be on your insurance plan, or it may not. Or you might have a copay that you still can't afford. Or it might only be 8 sessions. Or maybe you don't want it on your record that you've been to therapy. So for some of those things, not all, but some of those things, maybe it was just a behavioral change. And sometimes for us to do that, it's we just need to start to change something. We need to start by making it a habit and working it into our routine in our daily schedule. And so when I made my May 1st video, it was definitely about May Day, because I'm May, right? So you're welcome. You're welcome for the whole month. And it was silly, and it was fun, and it was about granny squares and creativity and a total inspo. But this video is for Not Your Therapist Thursday, because as I said, I'm not licensed, so I'm not here to be your therapist. But I still have 10 years of college and years of experience working with clients. And I know what people often need help for. But if many of my clients were not in college and their therapy was not included with their tuition, there was no way that they would have gone to a therapist. Because they couldn't afford it, a variety of reasons. And so I don't want anybody out there who's feeling like, I think I could use a little bit of help with this or that. But you don't have that option. Well, as I said, I'm not here to be your therapist, but I do want you to think about things like changes, things that are maybe in your mind that are sort of rolling around in your head. You're like, oh, I should do this, I should do that, right? And many people do New Year's resolutions. Now, I'm not a New Year's resolution person. I feel like if I want to change something, if I want to do something new, I don't need to wait for January 1st. But at the end of the year, I do sort of do like a self-evaluation. I'm like, where am I at in life? Am I where I want to be? Do I need any goals for next year? And my goals really these years have been crafting goals, okay? My goal for 2024 was learn how to crochet. And obviously from the granny square, I did learn how to crochet. And, so people can have goals, and I do have goals. And I'll talk more about those goals in a later video. But a lot of times people do make New Year's resolutions. Like, I'm going to go on a diet on January 1st. I'm going to start going to the gym on January 1st. And many people do. Some people do it for a month, and then February rolls around, right? And well, they go back into their habits, and they don't see the weight loss that they want to see, or they just get back to getting together with their old friends and back into their old routines and their old ways because life is busy, right? And we go back to what we know, we go back to our routines, we go back to our heavy habits, and by mid-February, sometimes those New Year's resolutions have faded and they're in full hibernation, okay? Well, it's now springtime. And for me, as I talk about, spring is my favorite season because all the plants are blooming again. It's new life. It's new beginnings, okay? Like my dad has a garden. We got fruit trees. He plants stuff every year, and he just planted his bok choy and all that, and he's super excited. My dad's 88, okay, and he's still gardening, and he's super proud of himself, and he should be. But some of our stuff we don't replant every year, right? The rhubarb's in the ground. We got snapdragons that we don't replant every year. The little flowers, if you don't know, the little flowers are pretty. They just come back every year. Seeds are in the ground and they come back. They get the April showers, right? April showers bring May flowers. They come back. And with some sunshine and some water, those flowers are back. Those plants come back. Their rhubarb starts growing again. Well, guess what? In January, you planted your New Year's resolution. It's in there. The seeds are in there. And now it's May and things are growing again. And I always think of May as new life, new beginnings, new starts. So it's totally okay. Your New Year's resolutions are still in there, and it's totally okay for them to start blossoming and flowering, okay? Just because they didn't work out in February and March, because life be lifing, right? Life happens. Well, I was talking about in my May Day video about stitch every day in May, and so far, so good. I've stitched every day in May. I have knit and crocheted. I've worked on these squares, right? I made a bunch of these little yellow creme brulee centers. Now I still don't know what I'm gonna do with them. I'm still thinking tote bag, but I don't know how to sew. So that's still going on in my head. Doesn't stop me from making the squares just because I don't know how to sew, right? Because the seed's been planted in my head. So that project's growing even though I don't know how to sew yet. So far, I've stitched every day in May. Will I make it through the end of the month? I don't know. And if I don't, it'll be okay. It will. So if you didn't work out with your New Year's resolution, it's okay. You don't need to beat yourself up over it, okay? You don't need to say, I'm going to wait till January. I got 7 months before I gotta go on a diet again. No, you can start that before January, okay? You can. So to me, May and spring are about new beginnings. And so for you, I want to encourage you to take that concept of every day in May and make it a new habit. Take that as your opportunity for behavior change. It doesn't matter what it is. If you're like, you know what? I'm going to walk every day in May. Then do that. If you're like, I'm going to ride my exercise bike every day in May. Do that. If it's, I'm going to eat fruit every day in May. Do that. Maybe it's reading because reading's difficult for you. Then make that. Maybe it's writing. I should make mine. Write every day in May. If you don't know, I've started my memoir. I should get back to it. But I'm not. I should. But if I did, then you wouldn't see me so much on here. I'm just telling you, you wouldn't. Because right now, I'm designing stuff in my head all the time. And my little fingers are busy stitching. And so I wouldn't be making granny squares with you all the time. And then I wouldn't be turning those granny squares into skirts, right? If I was working on my memoir, if you're blind or visually impaired, I am holding up the skirt that has the granny squares on the bottom. The skirt is Ivy. The squares are white in the center, holly berry, and the petals, ivy, and white. So I wouldn't be doing that stuff with you if I was working on my memoir. So will I get back to my memoir? Absolutely. Will you hear more about it on this channel? Absolutely. But right now, I'm in a tactile creation mode. And my mind's got so many designs in my head, I just feel like I need to get those out right now. Do I want to get back to my memoir? Of course I do. But maybe for you, that's more important, that it's writing every day in May. But I want to encourage you, whatever it is, whatever change that you want to make in May, right, or in your life, to look at springtime, right, the season of new life, the season of new beginnings. That's what spring is to me every year. I'm like, new life, new beginnings. I was walking around the garden, my dad's garden, my grandma's garden. I walked around my next door neighbor's garden. My boyfriend, when I was in college, we had a garden. We grew sunflowers, we grew corn, we grew snow peas, we grew roses, elephant ears, and green beans. Okay, we grew stuff, and I love to walk around the garden and see all the little plants growing all the time. I do. So this is the time, always for me, springtime is new life and new beginnings. So I want to encourage you to not give up on your New Year's resolution, but to say, I'm going to take that, or whatever it is that I want to take, and make that behavior change. And make that what you work on every day in May, okay? So, and it's okay if you miss a day. It is, because life happens. And maybe it's just a simple habit, right? I had college students that were just like, I need to make myself study from 4 to 6, every day. So maybe it's, even if you're not a college student, maybe your goal is to get to bed by midnight every night, okay? Because that can be a challenge for some people. Maybe it's I need to get up every day by 6 o'clock in the morning. It could be something just like that. It could be I want to learn a language. And so, you know what? You can do that for free now with the Duolingo app. Yeah. You can practice German 10 minutes every day just because. I have a friend from high school who's been doing Norwegian on her Duolingo app for well over a year now, and she's on her streak. And it's like, she just goes for it just because, she's not in school. She's a mama. Stay-at-home mama of several kids. So, but she carves out that time in her day. It's not a job. She's Norwegian, so that's, she's got roots there. But it's not a school thing. It's not a job thing. It's just something that she does for herself on her Duolingo. So, whatever it is, if there's something inside of you that, I'd really like to try this. I'd like to get out my guitar from middle school and play that 15 minutes a day. I want to do Duolingo 15 minutes a day. I do want to crochet 15 minutes a day in May. Maybe it's go for a walk. And if that's all you can do is 10 minutes a day, then you're 10 minutes a day of you in April, okay? So don't feel like, it's too late. I can't. If you're even too uncomfortable going to the gym, you don't need to start at the gym. Maybe you can't afford it. Maybe you're too embarrassed. Maybe you're too uncomfortable. Whatever it is, you can still just go for that walk, or in the privacy of your home. If you can't afford it, you could totally get an exercise bike, one of those recumbent bikes even, so you can have your feet out in front of you. There's all kinds of ways. Maybe it's just getting some 5-pound dumbbells, right? I got some of those. I haven't used them in a while, but I got some little 5-pounders doing some curls, right? I used to do a lot of yoga. I used to be in the gym every single day. When I lived in Portland, I was in the gym every single day. I had gym employees that were like, you're here more than I am, right? And I get paid to be here, okay? So I was there, it's like one day I go to yoga and do some cardio, and another day I would work my legs and my abs and do my cardio. Another day I was doing upper body and abs and cardio. So I have my little go to Pilates, do cardio. So I have my little routines all set up in the gym. So if that's your space and that's your thing, do that. But maybe it's simply a diet change. Maybe it's like, I really love, my ice cream, but I'm going to eat fruit instead of ice cream every night. I'm going to do fruit every day in May. Eat fruit every day in May. Just take it as a challenge to sort of pick up those little behavior tweaks that maybe you've been thinking about. You sort of in that contemplative state. You're like, oh, I'd really like to. I don't know. I'll wait till January. No, you don't need to wait till January. Okay, you don't. So that's something that I just wanted to put out there. Again, not your therapist Thursday, because I'm not here to be your therapist. I'm not licensed, but these are common things that I saw as a therapist. And I knew, if these were not college students, they probably wouldn't be seeing me in therapy, but they are college kids that needed help. And I was happy to do it. I was happy to walk with them through that process of, let's just make a little behavior change. Where can we work this in at your day? Do you exercise better in the morning? Do you like to do that on your lunch break? In the evening? Where does that fit in your day? So just try to play around with it. If you're not even sure, if you're a morning person and you get your walk in the morning, do that. If it's your lunch break, do that. I tried to walk on my lunch breaks at the last college job that I have. I'd go for a walk. I'd eat my lunch real fast in my office and go for a walk. I just had to be outside, even if it was like 20 or 30 minutes. I just needed that. So, I just needed to get out of the building. So, find what works for you. Figure out how you can work it into your schedule so that if you challenge yourself to do this every day in May, then by the end of May, you'll have done it for whenever you pick this up, 25 days or whatever. It will start to get the new habit, the new behavior. It will start to become a habit. It's not just a behavior, it's becoming a habit. And it's going to get built into your routine. And it will become routine for you. It'll just be like, oh yeah, I get up in the morning and I do 10 push-ups and I do 10 crunches and I do 10 arm curls, right? Or I make a smoothie for breakfast instead. Or I pack my lunch in the morning instead of going out to fast food every day, right? Maybe it's packing yourself a lunch. I brought salads almost every day to work every day. So that meant working that out into my routine of making my salad the night before. And so whatever things that you're
Facebook,
trying to
Trisha
do,
Kepler commented on Sharon Zenger's post you haven't seen.
I just want to encourage you to take advantage of the month of May and of springtime, my favorite season, to say yes to new life, yes to new habits, and those habits can start every day in May. And then at the end of the month, you can see, how do I like it? How's it working? You don't have to wait till December to do your self-evaluation. I usually do my self-evaluations in December. I'm like, how's my year been? But by no means do we have to wait until December to look in the mirror, right? And be like, hey, self, how's it going? We don't need to wait till December to do that. That's what therapy is. If you don't know that, it's just like, a place to sort of reflect and unpack. So I think that's mostly my message. I know this is not yarn, right? I know on my channel you're going to find like a whole hodgepodge of things because yes, I love yarn and I love knitting and crochet and that's my hobby. And yes, I'm visually impaired. And so you're going to find stuff about disability. You're going to find stuff about guide dogs. You're going to find stuff about what I do besides, how I do the world, how I do life. But mental health has been a passion of mine. I would not have spent 10 years in college studying and on public transit with my guide dogs in the rain in Portland if I wasn't passionate about mental health. And so even though I'm not licensed and even though I'm not working and even though I'm not paid for it anymore, I still feel like there's things that I can do to help people, because I know that I helped some of my clients, and it meant a lot to me, and it meant a lot to them. And so I feel like not everybody can afford therapy today. Not everybody's in college for this therapy. Do you know that we had some kids in college who would take college classes just for the counseling services? That's literally how badly some people needed mental health. Different colleges have different requirements of credits that you have to take to access the counseling center. And we would sometimes have part-time students who would take just enough credits to get into counseling. They would say, I just need my therapy. I'm taking out loans for college that I don't know how to pay back because I need my therapy. And I don't think today, and today's world and today's economy, if you need the college because you're like, yeah, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be a doctor, then by all means take advantage of your therapy services on campus. But, I don't necessarily want to encourage people to take out a 6-figure loan for an education that they don't have a definite plan on in today's economy just for the therapy services. So there are some things that I just want to put out there that some people might think, oh, I really need to go to therapy for that. Well, maybe you do, but maybe you can just do some research on the internet and find ways where you can do some of those things for yourself, right? It's called self-help. And reading a book on something is cheaper than therapy. So I'm just going to put that out there. But of course, as I said in the beginning, always, if you're in a mental health crisis, it's not, I'm not saying like, if you're in the throes of substance abuse and alcohol and you've been drinking every day, I'm not saying now's the time to stop, abruptly, suddenly. No, there are some things where you definitely need to be under probably medical supervision. Things like, stopping a substance abuse issue or a severe eating disorder or suicidal ideations. Of course, there are some things that you need professional help, and I want to encourage anybody out there who's dealing with any of those things, suicidal ideation, severe eating disorders, substance addiction issues, please, please, please get the help that you need. But at the same time, I want other people to know that there are some things that you can work on your own. And then you can be the judge over whether or not you need therapy. So that's the video for you today. If my yarny people are still here, well, thanks for watching. Thank you so much. I have no idea if this video will reach the people that it needs to reach. I don't know, because I know most people come to my channel for yarn or disability topics. And this was definitely, it wasn't a yarn topic per se, although we did look at some fun granny squares, and we can say stitch every day in May, but just take that as every day in May. Whatever it is that you want to do, make it your opportunity for change, okay? And I think that's all. So we'll get back to talking yarn. I promise that's not gonna go away. So thank you always for listening and stopping by, and bye-bye for now. Until next time.
Pause. But